All right, everyone, welcome back into another fantasy golf video. Going to be breaking down the RSM Classic here for you, giving you guys my favorite plays, outright bets, some value plays, and giving you guys a first look build for your PGA DFS lineups. But first, we're going to get into a recap from last week. And so, yes, this will be the video breakdown here for you guys. So we're going to be covering last week's recap just real quick, getting into a tournament preview here for the RSM Classic, showing you guys my favorite plays in DFS, as well as my favorite outright bets, and then we're going to get into the lineup process here for you guys. So, guys, last week ended up being a great week. Hopefully, you guys were able to take my advice and use it pretty well. In this video last week, I gave you guys 4 core plays that ended up doing extremely well. Those players were Rico Hoy, who finished 17th, Alex Smalley, who finished 29th. He had a terrible Sunday. But then we had Lanto Griffin, top 12, and Vincent Whaley, who ended up finishing 5th. So really good there. What's crazy, guys, is 50% of the 9-5 player pool ended up finishing top 20. 30% finished top 10. It was the best week I think I could have possibly had without having the winner in there. We also had a first round lead in Justin Lauer, who kind of ended up choking on Sunday. Seemed like he was going to be our outright winner on the week, but very good week. 85% of the players made the cut as well. It's a pretty easy week to profit there. The only miscut that we had, though, in players that were, above 5% projected ownership was Doug Gim, who ended up missing the cut on the number. So, very easy week. It kind of seemed like it was going to be that on paper last week. The one concern that I ended up having was the weather. And so I thought that would create more variance. No, all the players we expected to play well ended up playing well. So, guys, looking at the event we have this week, it's going to be the RSM Classic, obviously. This is a tournament that we have seen time in and time again. We know what to expect. We do have 2 courses that it's kind of rotating for the first 2 rounds, and then it's going to be the Seaside course. Doesn't really kind of matter. We know what to expect from this tournament. It's nice to have a tournament in which we know exactly what to be looking at. In terms of the weather, it doesn't look too crazy. Maybe on Thursday, it could play a potential difference maker, especially in terms of like weather advantage. But that's I don't think we really need to concentrate on that at this point. So we're going to go ahead now and look at course history here. And what I'm going to do is I want to look at the players that have made at least 2 starts at this track. And we're going to sort it by the course history rank so you guys can see which golfers have the best course history. And we're going to see Seamus Powers popping up there with a 5th and 4th place finish. Remember, guys, we're only looking at the last 4 years. That's when the data is relevant or most relevant. After 4 years, the relevancy really falls off. And so that's what we're looking at here. Taylor Montgomery, then Ben Griffin, he's going to be someone we're looking at. Eric Cole, JJ Spawn, he's going to be someone we're looking at as well. Joel Damon, Adam Svensson, a winner, one miscut. And so the course history does kind of fall off after a bit, where we are going to be targeting some players that most likely have at least one miscut recently at this event. But again, guys, we know what to be looking at for this tournament, which is nice. We'll go ahead and get into the top stat fits. Now, this isn't always a full sample size, just given the fact that we are on a 2-course rotation. But given the success we've had at this tournament, we know what to expect in terms of which key stats we should be looking at to be on golfers that we'll be able to predict will have a good week. So what we're looking at is going to be birdie or better percentage, ball striking, stroke gain approach, and par 5 scoring. This is typically an easy scoring bet, and it's a shorter track as well. With that, we want to be targeting those golfers that can go out and score. So in terms of golfers that we have a full sample on, Doug Gim popping up in there, Keith Mitchell, Henrik Norlander, crazy, right? Davis Thompson, Rico Hoy, he actually withdrew, guys. Then we got Aubert, Wesley Bryan, who went out and played well. I did kind of tease him, I think Wesley Bryan actually would have been in contention to win had he not had to play with his brother the first 2 rounds. I felt like that was more of a distraction for him because he had been someone that had been playing great golf. We got JJ Spawn, Ben Griffin, Patrick Fishburne. So a lot of decent staff fits for this event, which is good. And then we get into recent form. So the one unique thing about this week's tournament is that we're getting a good amount of golfers that we have seen play a bunch during the fall swing. We want to be targeting those golfers. And we got a lot of golfers as well that we really haven't seen during this fall swing, that those golfers I probably will not be going out of my way to target. Now, given the pricing that we have, we're probably going to get to them regardless, but Davis Thompson's one of those players. Aubert is one of those players where, because we haven't seen them that much, that leads to higher variance in their results. Thus, they're going to be less reliable. The reason why last week was such a good week is because it's like the tail end of the fall swing, where all the golfers I was really on last week, and hopefully you guys were on as well, were golfers that we have seen play a bunch during the fall swing. So that variance was reduced. It was much tighter. Whereas when we're targeting some of these higher end name guys, it could lead to it being a little bit less predictable for some of those players. So that's what makes this week difficult, is that we are going to have salary left over, and we got to just avoid the landmine that is obviously, you guys will see what I'm talking about in a second. So with that, let's go ahead and get into those high tier plays. All right, so we go ahead and look at the players in this field. Again, the toughest part is going to be what to do with players like O'Bear, like Thompson, like Danny McCarthy, like Brian Harmon, Siwoo Kim. All these players, I would argue, shouldn't be this high priced, simply because we haven't seen them much during the fall swing. And that's what's going to make this week more difficult, is that all these plays would be great plays, except for it's going to be difficult to trust them. Now, O'Bear, yeah, sure. Like, we haven't seen him in 3 months. He's a defending champ here. He should be able to go out and play well. He's the number 1 ranked play overall. In the 9 to 5 mile, he's 4th. And so I'll tell you kind of where I'm going to be looking at for this week. Davis Thompson as well. Great staff fit. 3rd best or 7th best staff in the field. 3rd in recent form. He's someone that we probably will be looking at. But again, I could see a path where I'm maybe not ending up on him. It gets more difficult there. So let's go ahead and scroll down to the players that I really will be going on my way to target. And let's start with Ben Griffin. So Ben Griffin has just been playing great golf during this fall swing, has great course history here as well, an 8th and a 29th place finish. He's one of those players that across the board is just coming in, checking all the boxes. His top 12 stat fit. Okay, the one concern that we have with him is ball striking, where he ranks 73rd in the field. A little bit of a concern there, but not too much. 1 recent miscut, whereas a miscut on the number. 3 top 10 finishes over his past 8 starts, so great stuff there. I mean, he literally is the one play that is coming in checking all the boxes. It's going to be difficult not to end up on him. And so we're looking at like lineup process. He's going to be my first click. He's just going to be an easy click for us. From there, where else can we go? Well, Seamus Power is someone that's popping up as a good play for us. 2 for 2 in make cuts here with top 10 finishes at this track. He's been playing pretty good golf. Kind of struggled at the start of the tournament last week, but overall he's going to be a good play. I wish he wasn't coming in off of a somewhat recent miscut, but that's going to be the nature of the beast this tournament, is that we are going to be looking at some of those plays that, kind of have a recent miscut. I do think that this week is going to be a week in which we are going to be looking at this dark horses category here, where if you want to place an outright bet on them, you can for DFS. I think I'm going to be making a lot of my builds out of this range here. So let's go ahead and jump down into that range. Harris English, the Georgia boy, has played this course decently well in the past, 3 for 4 in terms of make cuts here. And he's also been playing extremely well thus far this fall swing. 3 straight make cuts, 14th, 8th, and top 5 finish. So really good stuff there from him. I think he's going to be a great play. Mackenzie Hughes coming in off of kind of a disappointing finish last week. He is someone that, had it not been an event in which it was going to be really windy, I probably would have got to him more. These are the players that were the best in terms of like playing well in the wind over the past few starts. So I'm kind of looking past, and I think he's going to be a great play for us this week as well. Austin Eckroat would be kind of one of my favorite players in this range, had he not won for us in his last start, not playing last week, which I think is a good thing, because, he probably went to Brad's A game. I still think it's going to be a great play, but I see him more of a shoulder shrug play this week. We see this time and time again where a player like Eckroat will win an event, and then maybe he just, kind of has a little bit of a regression there. Love that he hit that for us. It's been a great outright year, guys. Hopefully we've been able to take advantage of that. But he's at a good price tag. I can see myself playing him. Like, he does have a top 10 finish at this event. Has been playing great golf. 5 straight make cuts for him there, with multiple top 10 finishes mixed in there. A decent staff fit. There's nothing really wrong with him as a play, except for the fact that he is coming in off of that recent recent win, rather. JJ Spawn, and I'm actually curious, guys. I want to see which players are how many core plays do we have here? I think it would be JJ Spawn. Oh, it's just Ben Griffin. Wow. So this is like the AI, if you will, guys, where the data is telling us kind of what to do and how to value these players. Doesn't even see Spawn as a high exposure play. That's interesting. I like JJ Spawn probably a little bit more than the data does. I'm actually kind of confused as to why it doesn't like him more. And the reason why I like him, guys, is played well at this track in the past. Okay, 4 straight made cuts, all of them better finishes, slightly, but still all better. So 3 top 20 finishes at this event, which is great. Recent form has been pretty darn good. We see multiple top 10 finishes mixed in there. Top 30 at the Worldwide Technology Championship, Zozo Championship, top 10 place finish there. So really good stuff there from him. And he's someone just at that price tag I think is just going to be a naturally easy click for us this week. To me, I see him as a core play. And then from there, we drop down into the low tier, kind of the sleeper tier here. Let's talk about Jacob Bridgman. So he has made a start at this tournament, which is just a cherry on top. That does make me want to get to him a little bit more. He is someone that's playing great golf over his last five straight made cuts. 1 missed cut over his past 8 starts with a bunch of top 20 finishes mixed in there. He's also going to be a top 20 stat fit as well. He is someone that can go on and score, raking out 3rd in birdie or better percentage in the field, which obviously really good stuff there. He also is scoring on par 5s, which I like to see. Not too concerning in terms of ball striking or stroke gain approach in the field, especially at this price tag, where we're really just hoping that he can be someone that makes the cut. And so to me, he's kind of a natural player to end up on lineup-wise. So Joel Highsmith would have been someone I would have played a decent amount last week had he been in the field. He ended up withdrawing. Didn't see any reason as to why. If you guys know, if you guys saw anything and it's confirmed, let us know in the comment section below if it's anything that we should be concerned about. If it's not, he is looking like a great play because he's a pretty darn good stat fit. The one concern, kind of lacking in stroke gain approach, but other than that, top 15 or better in all the key stats that we are looking at. Recent form has been phenomenal. 3 straight top 15 or better finishes, and 5 out of his last 4 have been top 15 or better finishes. He is someone that presents us with a decent amount of upside, and he is someone that should be, a very strong GPP play. And then I am kind of fine going back to the well with Vince Whaley, giving us that top 10 finish, pretty good results here at this track as well. So I don't mind that there from him. Grayson Sigg is someone I'm kind of happy to get to as well still. I see those guys more as shoulder shrug plays this week. Same thing with like Michael Kim. I see him more as a shoulder shrug play. We are getting a decent amount of those type of plays this week. So let's go ahead and drop down into the value tier. And I don't really get the pricing on Lanto, honestly. I'm toying around with the idea of, I would love to do studs and duds builds this week, just given the fact that we are getting a couple of decent values, especially like Lanto Griffin here. But again, I don't really like the idea of paying up. So it has been more difficult for me to get to Lanto, but 8 straight made cuts, really good finish for us last week. Pretty good stat fit, top 30 or better. He's probably someone you could get to as like a made cut bet or potentially even top 40 bet. I don't know if I would go much higher than that. Maybe top 20. Let's see the market there for top 20. 4-1. I mean, that's not terrible. 4.5-1 on PointsBet. Bet365, 5-1. I mean, not terrible. But I would like to see the top 40 market there for him as well. Sam Ryder's kind of been hit or miss. I could see myself getting to him a little bit. Zach Johnson's okay. I don't love it. Don't hate it there. But again, I don't think we'll really need to dip down into this range. So with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into my core plays. These will also be players that I'll be happy to get to outright wise as well. So the first core play for me is going to be JJ Spawn. You guys probably could have guessed that. JJ Spawn is someone that just basically coming and checking all the boxes to me. I'm really hyped to play him, honestly, this week. It's a weird way to phrase it, but great course history for him. Really good stat fit, top 30 or better in all the key stats that we're looking at. 4 straight made cuts, including a top 10 finish recently. He is 9th in course history rank, 11th in stat fit, 10th in recent form, and he's coming in as the top play in the 9-to-5 model this week. Overall, when you include the outright odds and cut likelihood from Vegas, 5th best play still in the 9-to-5 model. I think he's a great bet to outright. You can get him at 35-1 on DraftKings or FanDuel. I also think he's someone that you could bet 2 top 10. You can get him at 4-1 on most sites for that. So let's go ahead now and jump on into the next player. And that's going to be Grayson Sigg. So Grayson Sigg was someone I ended up on a decent amount last week. And Grayson Sigg is someone that, again, just kind of at the price tag, I feel like it's the correct play. Sigg has finished 8th and 15th at this event, and then a miscut 3 years ago. Now, obviously, he's priced at 7.3 on DraftKings, and you can get him at 70-1 on FanDuel. He's not going to be a lock and load play. He's not going to be someone that's checking all the boxes, given those numbers that we are getting. But to me, this is clearly a value. He's finished 9th, 23rd, and 11th as well in his recent events. So 3 straight made cuts, 1 miscut that was, 76th place finish, and then the event prior to that, 6th. So he's definitely playing better this fall swing. And that's the thing as well. He has played a bunch thus far this fall swing, and that's something I want to be looking at this weekend. It wouldn't be surprising to see Grayson Sigg go out and have another good week this week. From there, again, you guys probably could have guessed it with the way I was talking about him. Jacob Bridgman kind of feels like the exact same play as Grayson Sig, except for he doesn't have a miscut at this event. He only has one start, which was the 54th place finish. Pretty good form there as well with him. 12th, 29th, 46th, and 11th place finishes. 5 straight make cuts for him as well. Top 15 stat fit, a little bit of a concern with his ball striking and stroke gain approach, where he ranks out 60th and 46th there, but he makes up for that with his birdie or better percentage, ranking 3rd in the field there. Overall, just looking like a phenomenal play. The 9-5 model likes him much, much more than does like Vegas when we include that in there. It's a pretty big spread. So in the 9-5 model, he ranks out 13th overall. When we do the overall rank, he ranks 21st, so there is a little bit of a discrepancy there. Hopefully that means we are getting some good value on him. Outright wise, you can get him at 65-1 on FanDuel, 66-1 on PointsBet. Pretty good lines for him there. And then we'll go ahead and get into the 4th and final core play. Could you guess it? Ben Griffin, guys. The data loves him as a core play. The data loved him as a core play last weekend. It didn't let us down. He had a top 10 finish for us last week, and now he's coming to a course with really good course history, finishing 8th and 29th here. Top 20 or better in all the key stats that we're looking at, except for ball striking, where he ranks out 73rd. I would imagine that's due to his length, and length is not a big deal at this short track. Actually, when we look at his length stats in the field on short tracks, he ranks out top 20 in the field there. So obviously really good stuff there. So he does benefit from playing on a shorter track, which is great. Top 15 stat fit, top 10 projected finish. If you want to bet him to top 10, you can get him on 4-1 on most sites. If you want to bet him outright, you can bet him outright at 35-1 on FanDuel and PointsBet. All right, so looking at the first look build, I think this is a pretty good base setup for us. Honestly here, guys, I like where we are able to get to from this lineup path. We have 8.7 left over, so plenty of room to really play whoever we want. Now, again, the biggest issue that I think we have this week is really having too much salary left over. Like, I think Seamus Power is a good pay up. He's coming in off of one missed cut at the Shriners, where he just clearly had one bad round. Has good course history here. I'm fine getting there. I would value him more as like the 3rd best play here. Just given the variance that these players here could have. Like, I would agree the upside's higher for Aubert, Thompson, McCarthy, Harmon, and Siwoo Kim, but the likelihood for us to get our expected finish out of Seamus Power versus those other guys, I think is much more likely for Seamus Power. And so from there, we would have 8.2 left over. Again, guys, we can really make a good build regardless of what we want to do. Doug Gibb miscutting the number last week. I'm kind of fine going back to him. Andrew Novak is someone that's playing pretty darn well. Lucas Glover's fine. Like, we have so many good options. I'm going to go with Novak for now. I think that's a good base build. But let's go ahead and see what the 9-5 lineup builder is telling us is going to be the best lineup instead. All right, so if you guys are unfamiliar with the 9-5 lineup builder, what it's doing is we got to give it 2 data points to go off of. So we're just going to round up here or round down to the closest number. And I'm just going to run it. See what it's telling us is going to be the top of the lineup pass to go with here. And so here we go. It does like Matthew McCarty, just as an FYI, guys. I would kind of disagree. He is someone that did just recently win on the PGA Tour. I don't know if I would want to get there with him as well. Same thing with Nicholas Echeverria, Luke Land as well. Like, it's definitely getting to different players than what I see, which maybe that speaks to the week that we have, but I don't know. It's interesting. Let's just put it that way. And I like JJ Spawn more. It is getting to JJ Spawn there a decent amount. JJ Spawn 60%. It does less Seamus Power. And again, I probably disagree with these ownerships with Clanton and McCarty and even Echeverria, but it's still getting to a lot of the same players that I mentioned. So Bridgman's popping up 20%, Ben Griffin 15%. So it is agreeing that those should be some of our core plays. And it does like Wesley Bryan. I think Wesley Bryan is a pretty darn good play this week at his price tag as well. My original first look build, I actually had Wesley Bryan in there instead of Andrew Novak. The issue is I didn't like who I was paying up for. I felt like that was a little bit too hit or miss for a first look build, which is intended to give us the most likely profitable lineup as possible. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed the coverage, make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. That does help out a lot. If you guys want access to any of the tools that you saw in this video, head on over to 9to5sports.com. Get access to the 9to5 cheat sheet and the NFL lineup, NFL lineup builder, but PGA lineup builder for just $10 a month. It's the best value out there for fantasy golf. Take advantage of it, guys. Get access to premium tools without the premium price. I mean, others try to rip you off. I do not, guys. So thank you, guys. That's going to be all for this video. Thanks you guys for watching. Again, give a like and subscribe. That does help out a lot. That's going to be all, guys. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.